everyone, welcome back. Today we're going on a thrifting adventure in my backyard to find some hidden gems and transform them into stunning garden crafts. Hi, my name is Katie from Lady Red Crafting. Let's get started and see what treasures we can uncover and upcycle into beautiful garden decor. So I found some old pots in the yard that needed some love and care, but I figured we could use these again for the upcoming season. So I started out by just removing all of the excess dirt and giving them a nice wash. Once they were clean, I started with the black pot here, and I'm going to spray paint this all over the outside and then just on the inner rim because we don't need to worry about where the dirt's going to be. Now, I was going to use my older pot for this, but it had holes drilled in it, and to buy Flex Seal, it was $18, and it was $6 to buy this pot instead. So I did invest in a second pot here because I needed one that the holes were not drilled out in. Now, I took this pot inside, and we are going to use our chorizo sealer on the outer rim, and I am going to use the chorizo flakes on the outer rim, and we're going to make it a mosaic look along the top part of this rim. And if you get any of this sealer on the pot, you can just wipe it clean with a baby wipe. It's really easy to wipe off. And the terrazzo flake color that I'm using is the brown multi. Once I've done one section, I'm going to continue doing this until I make it all the way around the pot. And to keep the pot from rolling around, I did put this down into a plastic lid. This is a disposable lid I have in my craft room that I use for different crafts and things. But it worked out really good. It was for like a 9x9 pan, and I believe I got it at the Dollar Tree. Now, once I had the perimeter done, I did go ahead and do the inside lip of the pot as well, and it was the same technique, just using the sealer and then adding the flakes. Now, once everything had dried, I did take that terrazzo sealer, and you do a second coat to seal all of it in. So you use it as a base and as a sealer. It's the same item, similar to Mod Podge. And once this is completely dry, I do take it outside and I seal it with my clear matte enamel. Let's put this together. Using that first black pot, I put a bunch of dirt in there, and then I'm going to put the little pot on top in the center. Now, in the ring where the dirt is still at, that's where I'm going to add a few extra plants and some additional potting soil. Now I'm going to fill that top pot up with a bunch of water. Probably back in January, I bought a solar fountain from Amazon on their specials or something. It was like $9.99. And I just stuck that inside the pot there, and it worked amazing. Now, the one thing that is a downside to it is it doesn't have a battery, so it only works when there's actually sun on it. But this is what it turned out like. I think it turned out so cute and is a great addition to the garden. So back to that pile of pots. There is a saucer there, and I am going to transform this saucer into some fun decor. First, we need to get this clean, so I clean it up really well, and I take it back into my craft room. Now, once we have this in here, I'm going to grab my folk art paint for plastic paints. And I'm starting out by painting the inside of the saucer. And the color that this is, it's called shaved ice. And I ended up needing to do 2 coats of this on the inside of this saucer. And once this side is completely dry, I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to paint the back side of this saucer using Tangy Orange by Paint for Plastics by Folk Art. Now, once your orange paint has completely dried, I grab my Paint for Plastic Black Olive, and I'm going to put a little bit of it in a dish, and I'm using one of the round sponges. And all I'm going to do is add a bunch of black polka dots to the back side of this saucer. So that definitely was a tongue twister. While our polka dots are drying, I go out into the yard and I start looking around the fire pit, and I found a log that I could use, and I'm trying to find a stem for my little mushroom here. And this one seems to be standing up okay, so I don't need to cut it or anything like that. So now it is time to assemble our mushroom. I am having my husband help me here for a minute, and we are adding a pilot hole into the wood and also into the saucer. And then we'll just screw the saucer right into the piece of wood. And to help that screw blend in, we just go ahead and paint another polka dot over the top of it. I decided to plant this mushroom underneath my blueberry plants. I think this turned out really cute. And the colors are my daughter's basketball team, so she's happy as well. Hiding inside this rosemary bush is a farmhouse sign. So we're going to have to dig in here a little bit to dig this one out. It's been in there for quite some time, and it definitely needs a makeover. Now, I want to say that this is some sort of slate or some sort of rockery. Very thin. It's not wood. It's definitely something else, and it's not plastic. But we are going to wash this really well. And then I brought this back into my craft room. So I'm looking this over. I'm trying to decide what to do with this. And I grabbed out my terracotta black paint. And this is an indoor-outdoor paint. I figured this would go well with whatever surface this is. For the video purposes, I am going to be doing this sideways, and then I will flip it over and show you what it's going to look like when we're done. So we're going to start out by just completely covering this with our black terracotta paint. Now, I probably could have gotten away with one coat, but I did do 2 coats because it was going outside and I wanted to make sure it withstood the test of time, or at least one summer season. So once you've let this dry for at least a few hours, I went ahead and I cut out a farm sign stencil using my Cricut Joy. And I want to say a quick thank you to Unicorn Dust and Designs. I had no idea that they had vinyl that was for stencils specifically. I always just use my normal vinyl. So thank you for talking about it in your video, and I was able to find some. And I will put a link in my description box below of the vinyl that I am using. This stencil I did find on Cricut Design Space. It was one of their pre-made templates. All I needed to do was size it to fit my sign. I did put my straight edge on here just to try to maybe help me eyeball it better, kind of center it the best that I can onto this sign. I think I did a good job. It isn't perfect, but I like how it turns out. So we're going to go ahead and just lay this out, and then once all of that is down, I did use my Cricut tool there to just push everything down. Then remove the transfer tape, and so all that's left on the board is the stencil. I did cut the stencil a little close at the bottom there, so I am just putting a piece of painter's tape down so I don't get any excess paint onto the sign. And I'm using my flat paint here, and this is a white flat paint, and I'll put a link for it in my description box below if I can find it for you guys. But I'm just going to pour that into a bowl, and using a sponge, I'm just going to sponge over the stencil. So now here is what I thought would be the fun part, pulling the stencil off. But this thing was stuck on there really good. I did get my tools out that Cricut has, and I start really poking at it to pull all of this off. So now that I have everything taken off, I see I have some paint bleeding in spots. So yeah, now I get to come back around and fix that. So I just grabbed my terracotta paint, and I'm just going to go ahead and fix all of the spots that don't look great. So that's what we're doing next. Also went in with that flat white paint and fixed the W. So Now that I'm satisfied with how this looks, I'm going to take this back outside now that it's dry and use my Rust-Oleum clear enamel, and I'm going to just give a nice top coat to this so that it seals everything in. And since this did not have a hanger anymore, I am going to replace it with a thick jute, and I'm going to do the knots on the front and then loop that around so we have a way to hang this beautiful sign. And once I trim any excess jute off, we are ready to go display this sign in the yard. I think this turned out amazing. It was such a fun thrift flip to make. I recommend this to anybody out there. This is a great beginner-friendly craft. And if you're enjoying this content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you. This rain catcher definitely has seen better days, but it was a present from my grandma, so I do want to restore this so I can keep this in my yard. I'm going to start out by using some satin black spray paint, and I'm going to spray paint the whole entire base of this rain catcher, including the stake. Rain catcher portion, I had to clean that out really well. It had a lot of gook down there at the bottom, and so it took me a little while. But now I'm going to take this down to a paintable surface, and I'm going to grab out my Paint for Plastic Black Olive paint. And what we're going to do here is I'm taking a thin brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint over the top of these numbers. And these numbers are here to measure the number of inches of rain that have fallen. So that's what they're there for. And it does take me a little while to get this painted, but I do 2 coats of the plastic paint. So now let's go ahead and take both pieces outside, and I place this in the middle of my garden. And what we're going to do is just reattach our little rain catcher to its post. And then I just add the little measuring square back in, so that way when the water fills up, the square will go up and tell us how many inches of rain we have. This little makeover or restoration turned out amazing. I am very happy with the rain catcher, and hopefully I can keep it for more years to come. And there you have it. 4 thrifted garden crafts that I hope inspired you to make something beautiful today. If you're looking for more fun and creative craft ideas, be sure to check out our next video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, craft more, stress less.